Hi, everybody. It is Penny and Kim lighting up your Friday with the 5 stars of strengthening families. Today, we're coming to you with our fourth and final installment of concrete support in times of need with your teens. Penny's going to do a quick recap of last week, and then we're going to go into our final question of the series. Go ahead, Penny.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. All right, last week we talked about how do you know when it's time to step back or to hold back on offering advice or to say no to helping your teen or emerging adult. So we touched a little bit on motivation. So why are you stepping in? So the challenge was to sort of, when you feel the need to offer advice or step in and take over, take a few seconds, 30 seconds, a minute to reflect on why you feel the need to do that, right? And only you can decide in the end whether that's appropriate or not, but it's good to know why we want to do that. Are we trying to avoid feeling something unpleasant ourselves? You know, are we trying to avoid allowing our teen to experience something unpleasant? And is that, you know, helpful in their growth? You know, all those kinds of questions around that. Yeah, we talked about conveying to them our sense in their competency, that when we're taking over all the time, we're actually unconsciously conveying a message that we don't feel they're capable, unintentionally doing that. Yeah, so yeah, looking at your motivation, which is can be big and heavy sometimes. So hopefully you had some time to do that. So today we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of actual concrete supports. So looking at your communities, your province, where can you turn? What community resources are available to you? So that's basically the question. What community resources or supports are available to assist with your teen or emerging adults? So that may be assistance for your teens themselves or assistance for you in managing the teen years with your family. Kim's going to start us off.
Absolutely. Okay. So, well, what I was thinking of was just kind of doing just a quick recap of the things that we've talked about in this series, because they go along with not only knowing what is available, but when to ask for support or assistance. And really, it's always a good time to ask, whether you're in dire need or whether you're just looking for preventative. A great time. Then we asked you to go on a little treasure hunt and find out what's available in your community, and do that. So I guess we're kind of giving you the answers to the treasure hunt, maybe hopefully finding out a little bit, maybe some more that you can to add to your basket of goodies, your treasures of places that you've found already. So what community resources or supports are available to assist you and your teen? So often we don't realize what's available until we really need it. And this is where Penny and I talked about over the last 4 weeks, and even longer, is planning ahead. So finding out so that we're not sort of at wit's end and struggling what is going on with our teen. So where would you look? So Penny, do you have a slide? Do you have it ready, or you want to put it up?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to save that for near the end, and I'll.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's a list of mental health resources for teens, emerging adults, and adults. And what I'll do is I'll share my screen near the end, and I'll let that stay up for, 15, 20 seconds, and people can screenshot it if they need some of those answers. And those are sort of province-wide resources people can access for when their teens are struggling or when they're struggling.
So maybe what we can do then is just kind of think of a few off the top of our heads, and maybe this.
Oh, he froze on me.
Have already thought of on their own. Oh, am I there now?
You're there now.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was just saying some of our ideas then, and well, and then maybe our followers have already thought of these or not. Oh, there we go. My connection is unstable. So hope you can still hear me. But one of the things that I was thinking of is your faith base, your community, your church. That is a great place to find some support. And not only that, but also your friends and your family. When we don't get alone, man, it makes all the difference in the world. None of us are meant to go it alone. We are we like to be in each other's company. We're a social, sort of social people, right? That's why this pandemic has been so hard. So your friend network, your family, and if you don't have a whole heck of a lot of those, some people are away from their friends and family, either physically or maybe even emotional separation. Then there could be your faith, your church, or there's also groups that you might belong to, a book club, or knitting club, or weaving club. There's all kinds of things that you could join. Sometimes parents of teens, might get to know other parents through some of their kids' activities as well. So if their kids are involved in any kind of activity, whether it's 4-H or again, organized sports, I guess. There could be sort of a group there sitting on the sidelines, as you're watching the soccer game, even something like that. So, do you have any other? Did I steal all of your thoughts?
No. I was actually thinking along some of those same lines. So like your parent council at your child's school, it's a good place to meet other parents. If you're needing, more concrete support, like food, check out your local community food banks, thrift stores. And I know as a parent, when I had young children, there were far more opportunities for gathering. And I mean, again, with COVID and everything, that's been equally difficult. However, we're moving ahead, even FCSS is looking at, getting parents together, caregivers together of children of all ages. There's the caregiver cafes where, online during COVID, where groups would get together and talk about just questions that cover all ages, and feeling that, like you said, Kim, which is so true, that sense of community, whether that's through a conversation group, whether that's through a book club, whether that's through your church, feeling like you're not alone and that you have, because we need to feel like somebody has our back too, right? Not just our children. And it's important that the people that have our back are other grown-ups, not our children.
Yes.
So having those opportunities to make connections with people. And nowadays, we are very fortunate in that we can connect with people. And it's different when it's online, and there's greater access to connecting with people from different places. So, you can be in a group with someone from the southern end of the province and then someone in Lethbridge or Lethbridge County, or it's kind of a nice way to connect across the miles even. So look at your community services, whatever those are, FCSS if you're in our region. See what kinds of programs they offer. Counseling, even the counseling programs for FCSS do support groups for grief and just building a healthy family. And so there's lots of opportunities at no cost to do those things. And then if you have a little bit of extra money, there's continuing ed things, general interest programs, paint nights,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
cooking classes. And hopefully, if restrictions we'll see where that goes. But looking ahead to when we maybe can spend a little more time in the presence of other people, just having the courage to say to a mom at school that you have a connection with, hey, do you want to go to the park and go for a walk or grab a coffee, or someone who, you know, maybe you respect them because you've seen how they parent, or yeah, finding role models and striking relationships up with. And I read that ages ago, and that was more in a like a lifestyle change kind of way, health, and was to find someone who embodied those principles or embodied the way you wanted to be or the way you wanted to live, and get to know them and find out what they did, and that was a really good way to help yourself, right? Because it's very different having a relationship with someone than it is reading a book or watching a DVD, right? Yeah.
That's for sure. One that I was thinking of too, to add to your list, was Alberta Mental Health. They're a free resource as well. And they're all across Alberta. So easy to find, just Google or look them up in the phone book if you still have a phone book. And I hear there still are phone books out there. They're small though, I heard. But that is something a place that you could get support. The other thing that came to mind as you were talking about that is I remember, oh gosh, this will be 25 years ago now, with my firstborn. We went to, I don't, we weren't really called a support group, but they certainly were a support group. After our babies were born, we went to a postnatal group. And the postnatal group ran for, I don't know, 6 weeks or something like that. And it was so great because everybody else there had the same kind of questions that I did, and I was as a new mom. And so we run those groups called Baby and Me and Massage and Baby Sign and Sign Language and stuff like that. But after that group ended, we still connected as a group. We had one person in the group kind of say, hey, I don't want this to end. You guys want to, come, can we meet at the park, And so we met at the park for quite some time after that. And then we had a reunion, when they were all 2 years old or something like that, and had a picture where we lined them all up the same as we did in the first picture. So that's something that you guys could do, we could all do on our own too, is create those, like you said, when you get to know that person. That's what made me think of that is, we just said, hey, do you guys want to do like a meet at the park group or a walking stroller walk group? We're going to walk every weather permitting, every Saturday morning. Please join us. And it's so easy to connect now. Most people have, they do have cell phones, but you can make a text group or a Facebook group or to let everybody know when it's going to be happening.
Yeah, I think now, that's a good point. Now more than ever, it's easy. And sometimes you might look around your community, your town, your village, and not see what you need. And maybe if you feel up to it, you can be the spearhead. You can decide, hey, like Kim says, I want to walk and talk with other moms of teens. I'm gonna, bring up some of my friends and find out if they know anyone, or, like I said, school-based activities are really quite good for getting to know families and parents with children your same age, right? Because sports, like Kim said, cheering them on the sidelines, or
sports.
Yeah.
I regressed there for a moment. For some reason, I thought of my walking group. I don't know why, but as a baby. But you're right. Thank you for bringing me back to the teens. But definitely school sports. Absolutely, sitting on the sidelines and
so it might take a little, bravery or a little bit of extra time on your part to reach out or to connect if it isn't existing in your community already. It's well worth the effort to have people around you who are going through what you're going through, and sort of in the same. I read this was when the pandemic first started, and lots of talk about being in the same boat. And one thing that I read that was I really liked was, we're not all in the same boat, but we're all in the same storm. So our boats might look different, just like every family looks different, and every family is at a different level or has access to different resources. We're all in the same storm of raising teenagers. So yeah, how do we get our boats together so that we can help each other navigate?
Just because we're out on the water doesn't mean there's always going to be a storm either, right? So we're all in the same body of water. We're all in the same ocean or whatever the case may be. But there are different. Some of us are in the eye of the storm, and others are on the edge of the storm, and that kind of already on that side of it. So one of the things that I wanted to add about what you were talking about, so would be a parent cafe. You could start up. You could contact somebody from FCSS and say, hey, I got a group of parents here who'd like to do maybe a parent or caregiver cafe, parent caregiver cafe, same sort of thing, right? Would you be able to help us facilitate that? Or would you be able to help us do a youth group? I was sorry, because I had digressed back to the baby stuff, but I was thinking about the Do Crew. That's something that I'm just going to be starting in my area, but I know it's in other areas as well. So if there's something that you would like, or an idea that you have, contact FCSS and we'll see what we can do out in your area. So
For sure.
the Do Crew is sorry, I should expand a little bit, put a little plug in here for Do Crew if I can. So we have Do Crew in some areas and Do Crew Junior in other areas. And so I'm going to be doing the Do Crew Junior in my area. And that's with a focus on leadership skills for our teens, as well as volunteerism. So for our teens. So if you have my age group that I'm working with are 11 to 14-year-old, if you have an 11 to 14-year-old that might be interested in that, let us know as well. And then there's the Do Crew, which is for the 14 to 18-year-olds, leadership and volunteering.
Yeah, so those are actually resources for them, which is great because that's actually mostly what the question is about.
Yeah.
Resources for teens, not parents. We kind of got a little sidetracked onto that. How do we support the parents? But yes, FCSS also has opportunities for your teens and emerging adults in various municipalities. They're starting different things. We have Kaleidoscope, which is our youth inclusion programming, which Jamie has had really good results, and I've heard lots of good things from young adults about that, and the Do Crews. And so a good place to start could be FCSS. The website's listed at the end, and find your local family support worker and give them a call or send them an email, and they would be more than happy to let you know what's going on in your area. And like Kim said, that's a great idea, Kim. If you have ideas for things you'd like to see, yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I am going to share my screen with the resource page, and you can have a look there, and then we'll come back and say goodbye.
There's a Zoom there. I wonder if you could push the Zoom and make the printing a little bit bigger, maybe.
Oh, that's too big.
Oh no, actually, if you scroll down, that's perfect.
Oh, but I want them to be able to see the whole page.
Oh, the whole page. Yeah, that is too big. Let's
try that. Yeah, so we've got, the crisis line, kids help phone, just eating disorders, suicide prevention, recovery centers. And here, this is a website to help you find services. And then the different Al-Anon.
Al-Anon and Alateen.
Mm-hmm.
What's Arches, Penny? Do you know what the Arches is?
Oh, no, I don't.
That's going to be my homework, looking that up.
Mm-hmm.
So these are
Yeah.
some specific programs to specific areas.
Yeah. So there's some Indigenous crisis. There's some Safe Haven isn't on here, but you know, there's, yeah. And what is it now? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. 211.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's
We're
the
looking at
listing that, yeah, that gives you, you can look for different resources. 211 Alberta, yeah. So 211 is a database of Alberta's community and social services. So if you Google 211, you'll have access to province-wide, like we're listed in there, for example. So that's an excellent and very easy to remember resource. So Google 211 Alberta. All right.
So you're going to put that link in the somewhere for people to find it, or
211 or the resource page?
the resource page that we just had up.
Yeah. So if our tech person is able to insert that document into the comments, we will have her do that.
And
if not, 211 Alberta will net you similar responses with a wider net. That was more specific to mental health support, that particular page. So that would be my first recommendation to check out, or call FCSS. Yeah.
And ask for that that you saw with Kim and Penny.
So this is our last recording for our last Caregiver Cafe. So
It's been fun, you guys.
it has been wonderful, and hopefully Kim and I will be back within the next month or 6 weeks with some new and exciting programming via YouTube videos. So stay tuned. Thanks again for listening, and hopefully you found some helpful little pearls that you can use along your journey, parenting and caregiving.
Awesome.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
guys. Bye-bye.